councillors. I'd like to open the special meeting at 9:01 a.m. Thank you for your attendance. We have 4 councillors in the room, and then we have all the other councillors online. Okay, so we have one item of business, 9.1, appointment of acting chief executive officers. Does anyone wish to go into closed? Okay, then I would like to move that 1, having regard for the resignation of the acting chief executive officer with the effect from the 11th of January 2022, Council delegate and authorise the Mayor to negotiate a new date for Miss Edwina Marks to commence employment with Council on or after the 12th of January 2022 as Council's acting chief executive officer, with the anticipated start date being 21st of January 2022. 2, Council appoint Mr Norm Garston as its acting chief executive officer pursuant to section 195 of the Local Government Act 2009 from 12th of January 2022 until Miss Marks commences employment with Council or 1st of March 2022, whichever occurs first. 3, if the Mayor is successful in negotiating a new date for Miss Marks' commencement of employment in accordance with point 1 above, Council appoint Miss Edwina Marks as its acting chief executive officer pursuant to section 195 of the Local Government Act 2009 from the date that Miss Marks commences employment with Council until the close of business on the 1st of March 2022, at which time Miss Marks will assume the role of Council's interim Chief Executive Officer as per resolution number SM/12.2021/11. Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor McMullen. Any opposition?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? I certainly believe this is continuity for Council. I do believe that this is in the best interest of the Council organisation, and I believe we need to move forward with this. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion?
I just have a question as well.
Sure.
If I could ask that. Point number 2, to appoint Norm as acting chief executive officer. Have you had any conversation with Edwina to see if she's available before?
Yeah, I have, and that's why that expected. I've certainly not made any commitments in any way, but just asked the possibility, and that's why the 21st is the date.
Okay. So I'd like to speak against the motion.
Please go ahead, Councillor Taylor.
I'm going to vote against this motion because we shouldn't even be here today. This agenda item should not even been tabled. The majority of this council put in place in the organisational structure a way to show the Deputy CEO how valued he and his position was in the organisation by making it clear on the ladder he was directly below the CEO and directly above the 6 other directors. Then the majority of this council put in place the CA take all her accrued leave and Christmas break so that we could put in place the acting CEO until March 2. I, for one, would have thought that the Deputy CEO could fill this role, but no, it seemed we needed to put in an interim CEO for 11 months. The majority of this council decided to employ someone other than the Deputy CEO for this position. It is my belief that if this position had gone to the Deputy CEO, we would not be here today voting on this, and we would not be losing a very valued member of our executive team. I am saddened by the events that have taken place up to get us to this point. I am saddened that the Maranoa is going to lose an employee that loves his job, his position and his staff. I am also saddened by the fact that even though the Mayor has the majority in this council, doesn't always make this right. And I say with the utmost respect to the 5 new directors that they have a contract for 3 to 6 months. So their invested interest in our community is very short-lived. A CEO for 11 months also has a limited investment in our community. Not sure why we wouldn't look after our own in such a way that they felt valued, because I believe if this was done the right way, we would not be here today. Again, I believe we are losing a man that loves his job, his position and his staff.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Does anyone wish to speak against the motion?
Yes, I do.
Please go ahead.
I am too greatly saddened by the reason why we're here today. For our organisation to be left into a position where 2 of our most senior executive directors have resigned, and so therefore we have to be here because we don't have that corporate knowledge to step up and fulfil this position, saddens me. And it saddens me that I believe, in my view, this is because of the decisions that have been made by the majority of this council. And I believe, in my view, that it is because of the poor governance that this council has undertaken that it has left our organisation at risk. With the resignation of these 2 of our long-serving directors and our CEO on forced annual leave, we are left with an organisation where our most senior director has 2.5 months of Maranoa Regional Council corporate knowledge. I think the best for the organisation would be to let our CEO come back from annual leave and to finish her contract before handing it over to the new interim CEO. I think that would be stable and a sound decision for this council to make. I think our council is rocked, our employees are rocked about the resignation of our 2 most senior directors, and to think about how this might even work in this time of knowledge of systems puts our organisation at risk. I think we need to steady the ship in case the ship might fall. I would like to take the time to thank both Sharon and Rob for their work, commitment, passion and love for not only the organisation but the community. Their commitment to this organisation shows by the amount of years and time and effort and passion that they put into their positions. And I would like to wish them all the best. And I would certainly like to say that someone else's gain is very, very much the Maranoa Regional Council's loss. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak for the motion or against the motion?
I'll be speaking against.
Please go ahead.
Whilst I'm saddened by the reason we're here earlier than planned, I'm certainly not surprised. To lose 3 experienced, skilled, professional leaders in a matter of weeks is alarming. But I am not surprised, as the universal changes to this organisation over the last 12 months must be telling as to why we have lost over 75 years of collective local government experience so swiftly. I accept a majority formed the view not to renew the CEO contract. I also accept that a majority formed the view to universally change the organisational structure, reducing some directorates from managing over 120 staff to less than 50. These decisions have consequences, and the fact we are losing 3 of our most senior executives is a clear illustration of that. As we currently have CEO Julie Rotano on forced leave, I believe there is an opportunity to show true leadership and to calm the waters by having her complete her contract working through until the end of February. The decision to engage an interim CEO is in place starting the 1st of March. Our council needs stability. and losing a CEO and 2 directors within 3 weeks does not illustrate stability. I urge Council to vote against this resolution.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak for the motion?
Mr Mayor, I'd just like to speak for the motion. I think it's not only disrespectful, I think it's disgraceful that 3 councillors can come back and once again speak against a decision of council, several decisions of council. Some of these decisions I was part of, some I wasn't, but they are decisions of council and they should be dealt with respectfully or spoken about respectfully.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak before I sum up? I'd just like to say, the fact that, since it's brought up, and I don't believe this what this is today, but since it was brought up, the fact that directorates now have 50 people in the private enterprise, if you have a business mind, you would be very rare to have one person being responsible for 50 people. It would be a large business in our region. So I do believe these changes this year will be very beneficial, and I think it is disrespectful to the directors that are on board to say they have no long-term, just because they're on a short-term contract. They're short-term contracts with obviously the opportunity in the future to see what happens. I believe they're just as invested as anybody would be, depending no matter what the length of the contract. And I believe they're very professional directors and they will serve Maranoa Regional Council very well. I'd also like to take the time to thank the acting CEO, Rob Hayward, for all of his service over the time. Rob, you've been fantastic and you've guided Maranoa Regional Council through some very difficult times, and I wish you well in the future, and I know your future will be successful whatever you do. So congratulations on all of the effort, and also to Director Sharon. We haven't had an opportunity to say goodbye, but all of her work, I'd like to congratulate her on her effort as well. But anyway, on that, I've just summed up that I believe this is in the best interest of council, and I believe the people of the Maranoa have put us here to make decisions and to get on with it. So on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Yes.
I might just actually get everyone to say who they are and who's in favour, please.
Councillor Burkett, I'm in favour.
Councillor Edwards, I'm in favour.
Councillor Ladbrook, I'm in favour.
Okay, and then in the room is Guthrie, McMullen and Golder. Okay, now we'll go to who's not in favour. Councillor Taylor in the room and online, please.
Councillor Hancock.
Against.
Okay, Councillor Hancock and O'Neill, so the vote is 6-3 if I can call for a division. Any further business, council? Okay, I'll close the meeting at 9:15 a.m. and thank you for your attendance.